So then I was like, that's not a corn cob, that's my dick. Yeah, this guy knows what I'm talking about.
You suck. You stink.
Hey, pal. Shut up. I don't come into the dick sucking factory where you work and suck all the dicks at the dicks sucking factory.
Actually, I used to work at the actual dick sucking factory. That was my job.
That's weird.
Yeah, I come from 3 generations. My grandfather was a dick sucker. My father was a dick sucker. I used to be one till my job got outsourced to China.
Oh, yeah, I bet you're the reason we've got Donald Trump.
Actually, that's wrong. I'm part of a union, DSL 69. We fought hard for our dick sucking rights, and personally, my politics are very progressive. What, you think you're better than me? Huh? You cocksucker? Not professional, though. That's me. I'm a professional cocksucker.
Yeah, I would never. Yeah, no, I don't, man. Actually, you know, I don't really get paid to do this. I just mostly get drink tickets. I actually have to work really hard all day just so I can do this shit. You know, we're probably not that much different.
Yeah, we are. That's why this characterization of a working class guy supporting Donald Trump is so irresponsible. We actually have more in common than you think. In fact, you wrote this character. What are you doing?
I just thought that the dick sucking factory job as like a union guy was funny. But you're right. This was wildly irresponsible from a comedic standpoint. It's actually like a really bad thing that's happening in the media right now. You know, characterizing poor people in the working class in the middle of the country as the reason that we have Donald Trump is tempting, but it's really just another example of the sort of bourgeois professional class, you know, the really obnoxious, rich elitists that run the media and society and culture and everything. It's another example of them throwing the working class under the bus, blaming everything on poor people. I mean, they're easy target, they're voiceless, and it just really neglects the whole fact that the Democratic Party has for decades offered working people less and less, you know, working people who make up most of the country, and it was almost like an inevitability that eventually they were going to protest by just not showing up, because I mean, you didn't really offer them anything. So it is actually, you know, it's a really bad thing to make these hack jokes where the punchline is, you know, oh, some redneck, you know, he's ignorant and he's racist and he's make America great again and all that stuff, and then he's all right, you know, and it's like those people, the people you're thinking of are a very fringe part of society, and they don't represent the whole. You know, the person here, this union character, is, you know, probably like a normal person who is totally open to being politically activated in a way that'll help us win in a few years, you know?
Well, what do you want to do now?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
Let's suck each other's dicks.
Okay. Oh, God.
Wait, hold on. Maybe we should just start the podcast.
Yeah, let's just start the podcast.
I'm ready whenever you are, man.
It's clinking. All right, everyone, welcome to Pod Damn America, my new political podcast. My name is Jake Flores. With me is Carlos Delgado.
Hi, I'm Carlos Delgado.
Hi. If you follow my bullshit on the internet, you're probably aware that I have a raging addiction to politics. I also have completely unpolitical, comedic ventures in my life. I have another podcast called Mr. Cleo, where we get wasted and talk about the occult and shit. I decided recently to compartmentalize all of this political stuff into one thing because it felt kind of useless to, to be like talking and making what I think are good points, but just in the Facebook algorithm, like you're not really reaching anyone.
There's filters, dog. There's filters.
Yeah, and it's like, I was on a show the other night, and the person introed me onto the show, and as a credit, they said, like, I like this guy's Facebook a lot.
Ooh.
And that's cool, but, like, that's, how many people are seeing that? Social media is got limits or whatever. Twitter, there's less of an algorithm, but podcasting, I think, is more something that you can put out there and people have access to reach it, and you can have a conversation in more than just a small, like, textual
limited
characters, and just, like, the limitations of, like, arguing via a thread on, like, Facebook or dare I say even a YouTube comment thread.
Oh, don't even get me started.
There's, like, a lot that's lost there, and I think there's a reason that no one has ever converted anyone else's opinion on anything.
Yeah.
Like through social media or whatever. Half the time I find myself getting frustrated and going like, can we just meet up in person, and talk about this? Or can I recommend you a book or like
a reading class so you can learn to read first and then you can have a book.
Yeah, or just whatever. I mean, I'm gonna waffle in between wanting to completely dunk on people like that, and then also wanting to to change people's minds through actual rational appealing to people, because I think that's as much fun as it is to be a comic and to be like a quote unquote dirtbag leftist and be extremely online and all that stuff. Right now, the big lacking aspect in that is the really changing of people's minds,
or even the expansion of opinion. Man, it's so difficult to swing the pendulum the other way right now.
Mm-hmm.
We are just hoping we can expand some opinions for the most part.
Yeah, and so I think podcasting is a good medium for that because it's radio, it's background shit. You can throw it on, listen to it. I listen to stuff all the time that I sometimes disagree with.
Yep, same.
But you kind of learn stuff from it anyway, see other points of view. Sometimes it does change your mind. I believe in the medium a lot. I've also probably have Asperger's syndrome, so there's probably that. But I think there's a lot to this.
Well, I don't want to say it.
But there's a lot to the concept of being able to communicate verbally through, the airwaves, through the fucking this system of information or whatever. So with that, I very heartily I'm enjoying the fact that I am starting this. It's called Pod Damn America. If you're unfamiliar, there is a podcast called Pod Save America. Jon Favreau, ex-Obama administration people are...
Current Marvel darling.
Marvel
Universe darling.
Yeah, sort of analyzing what's going on through the election and current politics and stuff like that. And that's fine. That's good. It's very boring. They all sound like they're wearing sandals, and they're very soft-spoken men who wear khaki shorts.
It's sponsored by Birkenstocks, that podcast, for sure.
Well, it's also sponsored by, Lyft, which is,
well, all right,
part of the problem, So, there's, it's this big mainstream thing, and, they're obviously going to be way more well-researched and stuff like that. But I listen to it, from time to time, and they don't bring up a lot of stuff for instance, single payer. We'll just do a whole entire 2-hour episode on, what's going on right now with, the...
healthcare in general.
Yeah, the Obamacare repeal and the HCA and all this stuff, and that's fine. But if you don't mention single payer, you're kind of the media is kind of they're sticking to their guns, and they're kind of losing track of the times, I think, because single payer is polling at 58%. I think I heard recently.
58%. It's leading in California extraordinarily. It's almost passing in California.
So we've got this like split between the media class, like the types of people that work in that level of media,
Right.
and then like the actual sort of populist movement, right?
And I want to say very quickly before we dig in our teeth into this numminess, I'm Carlos Salgado. If you don't know me, I'm a silly bitch of comedy. However, I did do over a year of Redacted Tonight, which is a very leftist-based political comedy show. As a writer and correspondent, and we only talked about the shit that nobody else wanted to talk about. The very left-leaning, very specific alternate topics, such as single payer, such as drone strikes. So I might know a little bit less than Jake, but I can dig it.
Less than Jake.
Less than Jake.
That's what is that what that
This
meant?
is episode 1 is less than Jake. But I'm here with it, committed to the cause as well.
Well, I mean, one of the reasons that I wanted to start this, and one of the sort of like insecurities I had to grapple with a little bit, is something that I think everyone has and everyone's afraid to admit, is that there's going to be stuff I don't know.
Yeah, for
Like,
sure.
there's going to be stuff all of us don't know. It's nobody has all the knowledge and all the information. So part of this is like a learning experience for us, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to try to get people who know a lot more than me about a lot of different stuff to come in here, or up here rather. We're on my roof right now.
Yeah.
And like no one wants to admit that they don't know things because we're all engaged in these online political
Well,
fights all the
especially
time.
now, because admitting you don't know something online is admitting defeat.
Right. And so then it completely takes the wind out of any argument that you have, and you can't, but like, it's the truth.
Right. Was it Socrates that said, "Thee who does not know shit is the smartest of them all"?
I think it was actually Operation Ivy. All I know is that I don't know nothing. That's 2 Stalin references.
That's it,
We're 7 minutes in.
dog.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are we starting at, Jake? Where
Okay.
we cracking at?
Okay, so I wanted to talk about something. By the way, I didn't mean to gloss over who you are.
Oh no.
Carlos Salgado's a hilarious comedian, and he did work for RT. And so I want to talk about kind of a through line in RT, in admitting that you don't know everything, and in race. All right.
Yeah,
so
sure. Let's do it, man.
all 3 of these things have like they have this in common, right? You comfortable talking about like why you left RT?
Yeah.
Okay, so you told me the other night that one of the reasons you left RT is because now with like the Russia craze, for anyone listening, RT is Russian television.
It's RT America Today, or it's Russia Today.
Russia Today, right?
Yeah.
RT is it's like it's not what people think it is. It's not like this big conspiracy or whatever.
It's so the opposite.
It's just a fucking foreign TV network that's like
it's like Telemundo but Russia.
right.
You know?
Yeah. So, assuming that RT is part of a massive conspiracy to overthrow the American government is like assuming that the Bumblebee guy from The Simpsons is.
It's a fucking double agent. Like,
Yeah.
you know, it's ridiculous. It's
or like the psychic.
Walter Mercado,
Walter Mercado.
is actually Spetsnaz. Like, no,
Yeah.
that's not.
Or
It's,
the guy with the red hair who plays a baby.
oh, what are you talking about? Who's that?
On like all of the fucking Telemundo, the
Oh.
jokes like 10 years ago were all.
Oh yeah, when he's got like the freckles painted on his face, he's like little baby Armando or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, it's like
You're giving too much credit to a complete incompetent organization.
But if you were, as a journalist, to stay with RT,
Yeah.
people would not listen to you.
They won't respect you as a journalist.
Yeah, because that is always going to be an argument that people can throw at you.
Right.
Like, oh, well, you're just in the pocket of this or that or whatever. And so, like, as somebody trying to get the word out, I do understand leaving that because it's something you had the option to leave behind. The thing that the reason I think that's similar to this racial stuff I want to bring up is that what's really bothering me right now is like talking to people and debating about politics is like this weird form of like judo or like warfare or something like
Yeah.
that. So there's all these moves, and one of the moves that really bothers me is whitewashing. As a mixed race person, it gets super complicated. But being someone who's a leftist, who's a big fucking quote unquote Bernie bro,
Yeah.
what happens to a lot of the times is like people will tell you, specifically white people will say like, oh well, you know, all this leftism, all these banks, you know, bank politics, Bernie Sanders, all this sort of stuff is it's white people shit. It's like privileged, you know, white frat bros or whatever, and that's really insulting to people of color who are leftists, who a lot of them are, because it's a working class movement.
Wait, is that okay? Is that a sincere argument? Or is that sincerely they're saying that all of these class warfare bank issues are not for minorities, it's for white people to care about?
I mean, have you been on the internet?
I haven't, but I want to reiterate that that's fucking ridiculous.
It's something that's on its face is so backwards, because white people are generally the middle and upper class. There's also a lot of poor white people in America, and there are poor white people that are part of this, and there also are people who are not working class that are big proponents of the left, because it's right.
It's just right. It's better for them in general.
But it's insane to argue that like something that is like a poor people's movement is inherently like an affluent, privileged thing to be into.
Oh, you know what, man? That's just part of the general upper class strategy to divide the lower class. It's just continuing racism, continuing class warfare. It's just trying to put a schism in our fucking organization.
I mean, I think that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. Yeah,
because you know, if you look at like you know, campaign techniques. All these people,
the Southern strategy.
Right, yeah, the Southern strategy is like the biggest classic one.
Right.
What you do is you take you have like a middle class and a lower class, and you try to find a way to form a schism. And the way you form it is classically like what Trump did, for example, is you create an other, and you tell people that feel disenfranchised and that are middle class to lower class, the source of all your problems is this other, these alien people.
Yeah.
These people that you resent, right?
Look at I'm from Jersey originally, right? Governor Christie, that fat fucking sack of meatballs. Can't stand that guy. There's a tremendous heroin problem in New Jersey. New Jersey is also the leader in Pfizer and all pharmaceuticals. Instead of blaming the obvious problem, they're blaming minorities for bringing in heroin into New Jersey. But kids got hooked on OxyContin first.
Yeah.
So it's like you're blaming one group for the problems of the fucking corporations that bring in OxyContin flooding it into the suburbs.
Well, that's the only way, as like someone running for, you know, president or something like that, to really win votes without compromising like their capitalist interests.
Right, all the donors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's classic. I mean, we've seen it like a million times in America. And so what I'm saying is with Trump, he says, oh, well, it's immigrants. It's Mexicans, you know, they're horrible. They're going to come
non-whites.
Well, he picked a couple specific groups, though.
Yeah.
People in certain parts of the country, he said, it's Mexicans, that's why we're building this wall.
Syria, the Middle Eastern.
Right. Also, you know, Arabs in general.
Yeah.
Literally phrased it as a Muslim ban.
Yeah, and but then he also went the other way, and he was just like, the swamp, the DC politicians, he also singled them out and included them as a target.
That's why he's kind of the culmination of a lot of like festering bad American politics.
Yeah.
Because no one thought to try to do both of those things at the same time.
Right. He prestiged. He double-classed.
Yeah,
he was a paladin and a necromancer at the same time.
Telling you he's going to drain the swamp is kind of a populist, like, Bernie move.
Yeah.
But he just didn't do it.
Right.
He was just
lying. Sold it.
But he fucking realized that you can tell people everything.
He's like, did you know you can sell them on anything?
Yeah, you can literally, like, as much as we make fun of him for, like, you know, oh, you say you're the master of the art of the deal, but, you know, you actually are bankrupt. I mean, that was, like...
That's the most gangster move.
It was the most, like, fucking managerial, like, Machiavellian thing that is off, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, you can't argue with the fact that he became president. It's just not a good, admirable thing to have won the American political system, because it's a really broken system at this point.
Well, I mean, it's Trumpavelli. He really fucking figured it out.
So... The reason I'm bringing up this whole Southern strategy, like alienation, other thing, is because I think what's happening on the left now, the neoliberal, like Clinton, Obama, all these people, the way they've sort of like operated
for the last couple decades is to win by just cannibalizing stuff that the right does and just taking it for themselves. So one of the things they did, I think, is they took they're like, how do we split these voters and make them resent each other?
Yeah.
Right. Well, left people are so against, like, they don't want to be seen as racists.
Yeah.
What the other is for us, like our immigrant, is like bros, right? Like white bros.
Yeah.
Right? Because like you can make all the same arguments that you make that like a Trumpy right-wing person will make about like immigrants or black people or whatever. You kind of use the same structures to argue about like these white bros or whatever. For example, like one of the things that I noticed recently is okay, so when you talk to somebody who shares like Fox News stuff, like or like Stormfront.org stuff, right?
Oh, geez, or The Blaze.
What they do is these websites take they take things that aren't untrue. Like they'll take like a local news story of a black guy that home invaded somebody and like killed them, right?
Sure.
And then they'll keep collecting these articles and then string them together and create, like, that's the only thing that this website puts out is these stories. So if you're watching it, it looks like this stuff is happening a lot, but it's actually, those are outliers. Like those stories happen very rarely.
And so that's all you see. So if the news were to only every time the news has like a puppy festival thing and a website only collects that, and you look at that website, you would think America is nothing but puppy festivals.
Right, but the puppy thing, like,
only happens like once